guys, and welcome back to another episode of Draw with T. So today we are doing more digital card art. Hope you're not tired of it yet. It is the Christmas season. These cards might even be available by the time you're seeing them. So if you are interested in buying some of my Christmas cards, that would be awesome. Let me know in the comments. It's probably going to be like $5 Canadian for these. So if you're American, you can get a nice deal. It might, pay for the shipping. Yeah. Anyways, so I am working on what I am calling the Pudding-Deer card, because it's a food card and I've stuck my little character Derpydeer, who most people think is Rudolph, into a Christmas pudding. And yeah, so basically like I did with the last one, I actually liked the sketch that I had done so much in one of the thumbnails that I actually grabbed it and I just made it bigger, pasted it in a the 5x7 Christmas card file that I always keep, because once you make a template like that, you can just basically make it and set it and forget it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, and obviously when you draw that tiny, the resolution isn't that great. You can't get much detail in there, so I'm just drawing over the card again because I like the proportioning of the character enough, but obviously there's a lot to fix up. The top here is just kind of an amorphous doodle. Like, what's going on? Those things are antlers. Those are far too pointy and lopsided, and man, I got really good at drawing those little holly leaves from last year's card. If you take a look at the last year's card, which is the one with Derpydeer caroling, you'll see lots of pine cones and lots of holly leaves, and I got really good at drawing those, which is hilarious because I struggled with them so much. But like I said, if you want to be a better artist at anything, draw it 100 times. I'm not even joking, it'll at least make you competent. Unfortunately with art, it's a lifetime endeavor, so you'll never be perfect at all of it, but you gotta have a hobby and it's a good one to have. Anyways, one thing I didn't like about this card was how big the cheeks were. It just made her look exceptionally fat, which didn't seem right for the character. So I kind of redrew the head just using a circle and making the cheeks a little bigger, but not as huge as they once were. So, and added a little bit of frosting on her nose and, frosting on either side of her cheeks, some crumbs that kind of look like freckles. And, because, if you burst your head out from a Christmas pudding, it's not just going to be the top of your head that's dirty. Well, it could be, because, it's cartoon land, so anything goes. Here's one of the things I like about digital. I can always draw one side of a shape, especially a sphere, really well, and the other side looks terrible. And there's no easy way of dealing with that traditionally. You gotta get tracing paper, and then you gotta, trace it and flip it. Photoshop allows you to just, grab that shape, copy, paste, flip, and then you're good to go. And yeah, it's quite happy with this card, how it was turning out in the early stages. Sometimes I really have to work on something to make it good, and those are always the most frustrating, and I would even say harrowing. Maybe that's a bit of a strong word. The more harrowing designs to work on, because it's stressful, when you tell everybody you're going to have 4 Christmas cards, and you tell some people what those designs are going to be, and suddenly you sit down to start working it out, and what seemed amazing in the thumbnail phase suddenly is just not good when you actually sit down to sketch it out. And then you work on it. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and you don't know when those times are going to be. So I was really happy that this year almost all the cards have so far gone really well for me. It's been a blast. There have been years in the past where I'd be just doing one card, because this is the first year I'm actually doing 4. I'd be doing the one card. I'd be stressed out. I mean, there was other stuff on my plate, college and other life stuff. But it wouldn't go well. I'd be stressed out because, people were counting on me for a card, and I knew at any point I could bow out. People would understand, but, my family would understand. But, I didn't want to do that. So yeah, here I'm just, constantly working on this mouth, because the mouth kept bothering me. Classically, Derpydeer kind of has that muzzle look, that if you lie down the number 3 on its side with the points up, basically like a soft curved W. But it was a really hard thing to pull off under her nose with her cheeks so stuffed. It started looking like a butt. Really didn't want that on the Christmas card. I think I've mentioned in almost all the Christmas card episodes that every single time I do a Christmas card, there is something about it that I am terrified people are gonna notice, point out, mock, laugh at, possibly not buy the card, and then forever judge me. I've worked in the food industry. I have had some strange ass things and assumptions about me as a person for things that weren't even really done by me. People are very weird sometimes, and when you're doing a design that appeals to a lot of people, at least for me, I worry about, you know, oh gosh, is, you know, Bobby gonna be the person that wants a card, or, you know, mention something, because I don't want to deal with, you know, Bobby. Actually, I haven't had problems with Bobby before. Just a random name I decided to go with. Sorry for all the Bobbies in the audience. I'm sure there's a million of you. And yes, I'm being sarcastic. What was I talking about? Christmas card. Oh yes. So in this case, the thing about the card that I was worried about people judging was the mouth for some reason. I was like, they're all gonna point at this and say it looks like a butt. And that's gonna be it. They're just, you know. Pro tip, if you're not an artist, or if you maybe you're only a hobbyist and you know an artist who works really hard, you know, is trying to get some recognition. I mean, honestly, even if they have recognition, do not ever, this is not cool, okay? Do not look at their designs, guffaw and laugh, point somewhere and say that looks like a butt, or that looks dumb, or, you know, this looks like that, or WTF. This person just put a whole frick load of time into making something. Not everything's gonna be amazing. I mean, me, I draw 400 pages a year in a sketchbook. That's just in the sketchbook. There's loose sheet papers I do, there's designs and graphic design stuff I do, there's finished artwork that I do, a whole bunch of work. Hundreds and hundreds of works I do every year. I've done this for 15 years. Not all of them are gonna be amazing and great. Do not do that. It is not cool. It is not funny. You probably wouldn't appreciate somebody grabbing a report or whatever you do at work or in school that you've spent hours on and, you know, mocking you that way. So don't mock artists. Now, I'm assuming most of you are artists or cool, chill people, and you don't need that lesson. But, you know, I hope that you at least, you know, raise your arms and go rah-rah with me, because, you know, if you've ever had that happen, it's very annoying. Very, very annoying. And that was an odd tangent. So yeah, let's get back to this. So what I love about Photoshop is I can go in and do what I'm doing now. So it's like, you know what? The pudding's nice, but the head needs to be just a bit bigger. Like, I love the head, but, you know, I need that to be a bit bigger. I need the pudding to be a bit more this shape. Just very nuanced little things. It also allows me to explore those options, and I can still hit, you know, Control-Z or backspace or whatever to go back to a version I liked better. But it allows me to get a design that's, say, 70% there and get it, you know, 80 to 90% there. Honestly, there have legitimately been times where something of mine has been at that 60 to 50% where I want it to be, which is atrocious, and, you know, then I start crying. Well, not really crying, but just, like, moaning and being really miserable about it, and then all I need to do is, you know, move something 45 degrees and make a few other things bigger and smaller, and suddenly, bam, it's 80% beautiful, you know. Yeah, so don't throw out work immediately, you know, maybe massage it, play with it a bit, use Photoshop if, you know, use the features. Don't think that any of this stuff makes you any less of an artist. That's just, you know, that's like, saying a taxi driver is less of a taxi driver because he uses the car and not a horse and buggy or a rickshaw, whatever, you know, rickshaw, chariot? Not a chariot, a cart, there we go. Random tangents with Tegan. Maybe that should be a new series. I don't know. So yeah, now I've basically established Derpydeer. I'm quite happy with that. I drew some things in the background that I'm quite happy with. We got a bit of holly, we got some Christmas cookies, we got a candy cane, and we got these delicious, I don't even know what they are. but they're like these sort of delicious wafer things with like a hazelnut chocolate filling, and they are delicious. I forget what the names of them are. They might just be like hazelnut creams or something. I don't know. And then I'm drawing the foreground, and in the foreground I struggle with, because it's easy to hint at stuff in the background, like, oh yeah, there's some holly leaves here, and some trees that are cookies, and some swirly, chocolatey, delicious, wow, that's an interesting word, delicious shapes. But then, you know, you get to the foreground and suddenly these things have to make sense. Like, oh, well, yeah, let's have some chocolate chip cookies, but what else can we have? A couple candies, a cupcake, you know, well then, it's kind of a game of shapes. So you want to make, like, I'm focusing less on what these things actually are, although I am like, you know, I'm not going to draw a shape that doesn't make sense for a confectionery, but I am just kind of trying to make vague shapes that fill in the foreground space pleasingly. You'll notice in the background there that I have the 2 sticks, and I had the candy cane and the trees all kind of radiating out from the center, and that was intentional. That's me controlling where your eye goes and all that. And unfortunately, of course, as I choose to talk about this subject, I click away to the back. So the back is a very simple design here. I just grabbed a little cute pudding vignette that I drew in the thumbnail phase, and you know, I'm just trying to fix up the dish here in the bottom of it, which I don't remember if I went through with completely or not. But yeah, so this is basically just going to be the back of the card. Something very simple, something rewarding if you do happen to look at the back, but not something that I put so much time and effort into that I'm going to be upset if you don't like consider it deeply. Yeah, so you know, just sketching it out, fixing the icing. I maybe went into a little bit too much fixing and detail work here than I really needed to. I could have done that in the inking phase, but I don't know. I was just kind of in the mood, in the zone to make art, so you know, sometimes that happens. And also, I really like how that turned out. I just used the eraser on the sketch, and it turned out really nice. You know, just kind of that sudden pop of white really is convincing that it's icing. Yeah, so you know, I just adjust some layers and stuff, and you know, then that's good. I took a screenshot there, and then I'm like, oh no, I need to actually move it down a bit. That looks better. And I took another screenshot, and now we're back to this. Yeah, and so now I'm going to be starting the inside of the card. And for the inside, again, I am a very efficient artist, and I like to reuse things that I can. For one reason, it saves me time. For another reason, it is a very, very quick and instant way to make your entire design look unified. Here I just grabbed the foreground, and I'm just adding a few extra elements. This is the inside right side of the card, so if you opened up the front cover, this is what you would basically see next. And here, you know, I got the foreground, so we've got delicious treats everywhere, and I'm trying to decide what else do I want. Do I want pudding at the bottom? Do I want a little bit of holly at the top? How simple, how complex do I want it? Do I even want these here? As you can see, I kind of pulled it up and, you know, started kind of finishing the bottom of the drawing, adding a few little sweets and treats and stuff. And I actually really struggled to come up with a whole bunch of delicious, also kind of iconic and seasonal Christmas goodies. I thought that would be a lot easier, and I think every year I think it's easy. But once I do like candy canes, cake, those swirly sticks, chocolate chip cookies, and holly, I kind of run out of ideas. I'm not a big sweet person, actually, and yeah, so I you know, I have my favorites, but I don't like, they're not classic favorites. They're just sort of cookies I like to eat that I don't even know if anybody's really heard of or are iconic enough to look at that you would, you know. Like, everybody knows a Christmas pudding, even though I've never had one. But I ultimately decided to stick cute little Derpydeer in amongst the treats because she likes sweets. And here I'm just kind of, you know, finessing the doodle. For some reason, I didn't put her on a separate layer from the food. That would have made things easier. Occasionally, when I really get into the art mode, or, you know, I'm just tired or, you know, going fast, I just end up drawing on the same layer. It's not a terrible thing, but if I had struggled with this for a few hours, I would have felt like a doofus, having not just stuck her on a different layer, so I could, you know, fiddle around, resize her, move her about, move the stuff about separately, and not have to constantly be drawing around them. But as it worked out, it ended up working out quite fine. And I'm gonna say this now, this is I batch recorded all of these together, and I didn't think about the fact that I don't have any sort of, you know, I don't show you all the designs for a few seconds at the end of the video, so unfortunately we are gonna, like, cut out to nothingness rather rapidly. Sorry about that, guys. I will try and remember to fix that in the next episode. I was heavily rushed. I've been doing I did 8 episodes in a week. A lot of work. I know I'm not supposed to talk about that because I think it ruins your verisimilitude, but sorry. But yeah, so I wanted to get that out of the way because, you know, we got one more design and I don't think it's going to take me very long to do. Here I'm basically just struggling with what words to put. You know, I want it to be like a sweet little Christmas thing, and almost all the insides of my cards I think are handwritten by me. Like, I don't go on Google and find something and copy and paste it in. I maybe have done that once or twice, but I'll often edit it at least. Oftentimes I just come up with it, like, out of my skull. Like, here I'm like, may your Christmas be as sweet as pudding, because, you know, I mentioned pudding, and then I struggled with what your new year should be, you know, and then I cut a little bit there because I struggled with that for a good while. That's kind of the end one that I went with, be as sweet as pudding with cherry on top, or something, whatever. Sorry, I cut away from it too fast. So now I'm doing the other side of the card, and later on off film I actually fix and flip some of this art so that it looks continuous, but basically I just draw a little pudding on the other side, and yeah. Hope you guys liked this episode. Hope to see you in the next one. Like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day, night, evening, or whenever you're watching this. Bye, guys!